Yo, 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 what is up? And welcome to another episode right over her. How you doing, Rob?
You can tell he's good. I mean, 7-game win streak in the snow, play of the year. You can tell all that's true when he opens the show like that. You know what I mean? Like there's just already a vibe.
There is a vibe because, I mean, this was a great weekend of football for me. It was a great weekend of football for me. I mean,
oh, are you really going to do this?
Yeah. Why not? Why not? I mean, it's like, it's wonderful. It's Michigan won. The Bills dominated.
We are literally a minute into the show, and you already.
I know, dude. Rob, you do know that, like, when
what was your record? 6-6.
You do know that I'm excited about my Wolverines.
6-6.
You do know that I'm excited about my Wolverines, right? I don't even hear what you're saying. The slander coming out of your mouth doesn't even matter right now.
It's not slander. It's just the truth.
Who cares? You beat Ohio State. It doesn't matter.
And listen, last year would have been massive because it would have knocked them out of the college football playoff. They would have gone from the number 2 team in the CFP to number 8, and they would have been done. But guess what?
They won a national title. Michigan won a national title. So
guess what? Guess what? It doesn't really matter.
It does. It still matters to me.
They're still in the college football playoff. Now they get an extra week to rest. They don't have to play their conference championship game. I mean,
you sound like a person that doesn't understand the rivalry. Okay,
I get it. I get it.
Anytime you beat Michigan or Ohio State, between those two teams, it's a successful season, no matter what your record is. No matter if Ohio State goes off to the college football playoff and does whatever.
No.
And does whatever.
If they win a title.
They're not.
See, but if they're not. your tune is gonna change.
It's not. Because I'm like, Michigan beat the national champs.
Okay.
Feels great.
Sure.
You have to look for any.
We're doing a Bills podcast. What are we?
We are. Any way that you can wrap it up to make like in this world today, there's a lot of silver lining everywhere, and sometimes you got to find the good stuff.
That's how bad it is. That's what we're saying. It's so.
You got to find the good stuff.
Yeah. Okay. Well.
I'm not saying that and that's for me, for Michigan, that's the good stuff right now. Despite all the recruiting success and etc. But anyway, we are here to talk some Buffalo Bills.
I was going to say there's plenty of good stuff to talk. I mean, we're not talking about a 3-8 Bills team here, Big Dog.
No, we're talking about a team that I think should be knocking on the door of the Super Bowl. I think it's time to start having that conversation.
Oh, we are ready for it. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Do your little intro. Do your little monologue.
Listen, I'm going to ask a series of questions, and you answer them honestly. You answer them. And for those of you out there who are listening to the show, welcome to Inside the Trenches. You're listening to the show tonight, or tomorrow morning, or however you listen. I want you to answer these questions too. Number one. Is this the best football Josh Allen has played in his career to date?
Close.
Okay, so we could say 21. He was probably more dynamic.
Yeah.
Okay. But this is the most controlled version of Josh we've seen.
Yes. Yeah. And I think 21, he was a better passer too. That's not to say that can't come with this, but I think, man, I rewatched like a highlight package from one of those games like a week or two ago. Mm-hmm. That receiver core was stupid good.
So good.
I mean, that was when Gabe Davis was like, who's Gabe Davis, right?
Yeah.
And not that Gabe Davis is great, but he was your 5th wide receiver.
Yeah.
It was Diggs, Brown, Beasley, Sanders, Gabe Davis. Like, it was great. And then you had Dawson Knox on top of it, who was, you know what I mean? Like, it was a great wide receiver room. And I think they were a little bit more aggressive play caller wise. So I think it was a better passing year for Josh, but you're right. In terms of full control, both of his sugar high and control of the offense, there's no doubt this is the better year of Josh Allen.
Speaking of the weapons, I would say this is the most complete receiving core room he's had complete. Well, here I would say 21 was more finesse.
I told you you're not going to like my answer. You thought you
no,
were going
that's
to just
okay. That's
rattle
okay.
these questions off and like
that's
my
okay.
answers.
Because Rob, because that's how you are. I expected this coming into the show tonight.
Teller. That is exactly how I am.
Say that. That people who are negative say, "Well, I'm just being honest." That's what you're doing right now. So play the game.
Hold on.
Play the game.
Just real quick before we continue. If you're going to paint me in that light, I'm going to defend myself.
You don't need to.
If you're going to paint me in that light,
you're not a negative. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
On this podcast, after the Bills lost consecutive games, and we're 3-2.
I don't remember the Bills losing this season.
My you know what you do remember when you asked me what I thought their record was going to be at the end of the year when they were 3-2, and what did I say to you?
I don't remember.
You do. You're a liar.
Look at your
face. Look at your face. Look at your face.
I don't remember.
Dog, I'm going to dig that clip out and blow it on social media.
No, you don't need to do that. I'll shut my social off. I'll just turn it off.
I said 14-3, and you said what?
Okay?
So don't bring it in here like I'm the negative Nancy or something like that.
You work in radio. That's a good balance.
It's called telling the truth. I am a truth teller. All right. Man. So go ahead and ask your next question.
So back to the bevy of weapons, right? So I would say 21's version of the Buffalo Bills, that was a more surgical unit. I think you have a more dynamic unit right now.
I think we could look back in years and say that this is the better room.
Okay.
But right now, are you taking Diggs or Cooper?
21 version?
Yeah, 21 version of all these old guys.
So that's a great
24
question.
Version. It's Diggs. It's Diggs. He was a top 3 wide receiver in the league.
And I thought
Cooper
about
is
this.
Great, but he is not.
I thought about this. Diggs in the playoffs. I think that's something that you gotta account for.
You haven't seen Cooper in the playoffs yet, so
it's better than Stephon Diggs already. All right.
He was a top 3 wide receiver. Okay. Cooper is great, but he is not that.
I'm just saying.
Be fair.
In the playoffs, my man was gone.
Be fair. Don't have recency bias. Be fair.
That's fair.
You're taking 21 Diggs over 24 Cooper. We all know it. Come on.
I'm not.
You are.
Also, what? Beasley? Are you gonna say Beasley and Shakir?
Well, I was gonna say Shakir, or I guess Brown would probably be your number 2. They're different positions, but
I would say I go with.
But
Shakir.
we could go by position because you can go slot for slot.
So offensive line.
So hold on, but Beasley or Shakir, I'd say Shakir.
Yep.
Coleman or Brown, I'd say Brown, but Coleman in time maybe. But
sure.
For now, Brown.
Right.
God, who was your Emmanuel Sanders or Mac Hollins?
Emmanuel Sanders.
Gabe Davis or Curtis Samuel?
Curtis Samuel.
I know you hate him, but as your 5th wide receiver, it really should be Gabe Davis or Mac Hollins is really
right.
what it should be.
Okay.
Don't you dare. Don't you dare. I know you don't like Gabe Davis, but don't you dare.
You already knew what I was about to do.
Don't you dare say Mac Hollins is better than
I hate you. This is why you shouldn't do podcasts with your best friends, because they know what you're thinking. Offensive line.
Okay. Do it.
Let's do it. Okay. I'll give me the Bills' offensive line right now.
Oh, you think
it's the best version of the offensive line we've had in Buffalo?
So Dawkins or Dawkins?
Dawkins or Dawkins, right?
I actually think Dawkins has gotten better over the past couple years. When he had that COVID hit him during training camp that one year, which I think was the 21 year, he came back so slow. Not like physically, but just like over time, his comeback was slower than I expected it to be. But he has gotten so much better, I think, as he has gotten smarter and has gotten coaching from Aaron Cromer. I think the 24 version of Dawkins is better than the 21, personally.
Yep. So we got Deion Dawkins at left tackle, John
Feliciano.
Yep.
I think that's probably a wash, if I'm being honest.
Nah, Edwards over Feliciano.
Okay, I'll give it to you.
Right?
McGovern or Morris? It's Morris.
Morse. Yep.
Yeah.
And then we had Cody
Torrance
Ford.
or
Cody
Ford.
Ford.
Okay, so Torrance.
Yep. And then
Right.
Darrell
And
Williams, Spencer Brown.
no, it was Spencer Brown. Spencer Brown.
In 21?
Yeah, by the end of that year,
No.
he was starting.
What? Man, I could recall. Okay, maybe by the end of the year he was starting.
But he was not half the player that he is now.
Sure, right.
Not
He
even
was
close.
much more of a mystery at that point.
Yeah, 24 Spencer Brown over 21 Spencer Brown. So one of your offensive line positions was better. So
one. This offensive
group,
line 2024.
But two of them are the same guy who is just
matter. They're better versions of those.
They
right?
are better versions. They are better versions.
Okay. Cornerback.
Well, so hold on. 21 Josh or 24 Josh?
I like 24 Josh just because it's more predictable. You know what you're going to get.
I'm sorry. You know what you're going to get instead of the guy who threw for almost 1,000 yards, 9 touchdowns, and no interceptions in the playoffs before he got eliminated.
Hold on.
Is that the discussion that we're having right now?
It's a much more calculated version of Josh. I like he's playing more with his.
If he's gonna have a better playoff than 9 touchdowns, no interceptions, and almost 1,000 yards in 2 games.
Okay, well, we saw a guy Sunday night.
Then book your flight back to Buffalo for the parade because we going.
We might have to. We might have to. I mean, my man threw one, caught one, ran one. I mean, shit.
He sure did. He sure did.
Right?
Listen, I hope he can lock. If he finds the zone like he did that year again, forget it. This AFC cannot stop him. That AFC could stop him. That Bengals team might have stopped him. I think they would have won that game if the AFC Championship games in Buffalo.
The Bills or the Bengals?
The Bills.
For sure.
I think they would have won that game. But I think that Bengals team could have stopped him. The Chiefs team did stop him. That version of the AFC, I think, was better than this version of the AFC. If he catches a groove like that, like he did that year, forget it. It's over. He's winning a Super Bowl and an MVP. And a Super Bowl MVP.
So we're taking 2024 Josh.
No, I'm taking 21 Josh until I see him.
Okay, you know what? That's fine. You know, you could take 21 Josh. That's fine. Okay, let's go. Let's go tight end. Dawson Knox.
Or Dawson Knox. Because Dalton Kincaid has been hurt and therefore not really a factor.
But no, that's not fair. That's not fair.
I understand. When he plays, he has mattered. I'm not.
You over here making it sound like my man's been injured the whole season.
Half of it.
Come on, dog. That's not fair. That's not fair. That's not fair to Dalton Kincaid. So we're gonna go with 2024 tight end room.
That's fine.
Yeah, right. Okay.
I don't know if I agree, but okay.
Yeah, of course you're not going to agree. If it comes out of my mouth, you're not going to agree.
I'm going to agree with the next thing you're going to say. Go ahead.
What am I about to say?
Corners. 24. Corners. No question about it.
Yes. Do we need
24? No question about it.
Yeah.
Even Trey White at his peak does not compare to the duo of corners that they have now.
Right.
And then Taron Johnson is Taron Johnson for both those teams. So.
Right. Safety 21. Easy. Obviously. Easy. No question. Linebacker.
I was a big Tremaine Edmonds fan.
But would you rather have 2 matchup linebackers?
I got to make sure that Matt's still Matt. And we didn't really get to see that. Dog. We didn't really get to see that this week because
Matt's still Matt, bro.
The way that they play, the number of snaps that they played him, it suggests to me that watching him in practice, they believe that Matt is still Matt.
Matt's still Matt.
I need
because if you jinx it and something happens and Matt's not Matt, it's your fault. So let's go. Matt's still Matt. It's your fault. It's your fault. Okay. So 2024 Bills linebackers. Let's go defense.
I'm not sure about that.
Oh my God.
Dude, 21 Milano is an animal. 21 Milano is an animal.
And 24 Milano is going to be an animal.
21 Edmonds is good.
Listen. Pass coverage wise, I think this is a much better version.
Okay, I'll give you that.
Because you got two matchup linebackers that are very similar, two playmaking linebackers. I give me that.
Sure.
Give me that. Give me 2024.
But run defense wise, it's a lot worse. Right?
I mean, listen.
Don't. Now listen, it's harder to get. Like it's a curve, right? From where they were pass defense wise to where they are now, that difference is harder to gain than the difference between the run defense now and the run defense then, because you're covering different ground.
I think Bernard's better in the run game. And Milano's Milano. He's gonna miss tackles. I mean, he's just flashy. He's gonna, right?
I don't know if I agree with that.
Oh, dog.
Bernard is more dangerous, I think I'll say. Because Bernard will fire with what he sees and take a chance that I don't think Tremaine
Edmonds
would do.
Right. But I still like Tremaine Edmonds. I still like Tremaine. Just put that out there. I think instinctually
it's a good fight. It's a good fight.
Instinctually, I would have to go with Terrell Bernard instinctually. I think his instincts are better. But Terrell Bernard, I mean, who are we talking about here? Tremaine Edmonds he's more stout at the point of attack and taking on linemen, right? So you give and take.
When you play 6-man boxes, I mean, it's one of the problems that we've talked about for this Buffalo Bills group, that they are going to have to prove long term. If we go back and talk about this 49ers Snow Bowl, when they had one of their top two backs in there, they were eaten. Now, the defense still acted like it needed to act, which is, yes, you can march all the way down the field, but once you get in the red zone, it's over, forget it, right? And they did that well. But when you're playing 6-man boxes, you need like a 6'3", 250-pound middle linebacker who is not great at covering but can still cover.
Right.
Like, that helps you play a 6-man box. You know what I mean? So a little bit of credit to Tremaine Edmonds and the fact that he allowed them to do that. Now, listen, Bernard and Milano and Williams have held up despite having undersized defensive linemen, undersized linebackers, and running 6-man boxes. So, but.
Okay.
Walter, what are you talking about? You put that comment up right now. Walter, what are you talking about? My man here literally just said that Milano misses tackles in like what? It was not 60 seconds ago that my man just said that. Get it off the screen.
I mean, I try to be as honest as I can, and I don't glaze over these guys like that. But okay, yeah, Walter, it's all good, bro.
I think he was the same. Wasn't he the guy that was hating on Groot? Walter, were you the guy that was hating on Groot?
He might have been.
I've been waiting for you to come back here so I can stuff that right into you.
He might have been. All right, so
anyway,
defensive line.
I mean, you tell me what you think.
We had a young, that dog.
I think Ed Oliver was playing better then than he is now.
Yeah. And that's, I mean, he hasn't been horrible this season.
The year, so you don't have Phillips that year, right? That's the year he gets paid by Arizona.
Let's see. I'll tell you.
Do you have it there?
Let's see. I'll get to it here. Ooh. Okay. So Star Latulele.
I know people hated him. I liked him.
The old Star Latulele. We had a 33-year-old Jerry Hughes,
who I thought was still effective. He has been effective even when he went to Houston.
A man had 2 sacks that year.
It was never about sacks with Jerry Hughes. Don't do
that. Listen,
unless you're
people
going
are
to
like,
look up
it's the pressures.
numbers.
It's the pressures. It's the.
Unless you're going to look up pressure numbers, I don't want to hear it.
Hey, man. Hey, man. I'm just telling you, dog. I'm just telling you.
We know who he is. We knew who he was.
I'm just telling you. I'm just telling you.
Who else is there?
That's the 4. Greg Rousseau as a rookie. Okay.
Yeah, but he wasn't playing a majority of snaps. Who was
Shaq?
I guess. Was Shaq Lawson on that team, or was he with the Jets then?
We had Mario Addison.
Yeah,
Mario Addison was on that team. Vernon Butler, remember that?
Yep.
Yeah.
So I'd say this defensive line, even though I
would have to go with the Bills defensive line this time. Yeah,
so
2024.
So we kind of split it right down the middle. This team.
Did we know?
Yeah, this team is better. This team is better on the offensive and defensive lines, which I think matters.
That matters big
playoffs.
time. A more mature, calculated Josh. Better at corner.
See, I disagreed with you on that. I think Josh. The better
that's fine.
Josh
that's
21.
Fine. That's fine. I tried to get you there.
And I liked the linebackers in 21 too. So for me, it's linebackers and safeties 21. Corners and D-line 24.
Yep.
Offensive line and tight ends 24. And weapons and Josh 21.
Yeah.
We didn't really talk running backs, but it's kind of
it's a no-brainer. Boy, if you don't don't do no, son. You can't do that, bro. You can't do that. It's 24 Bills. You got 3 guys that we had Singletary, Devin Singletary.
The depth is definitely better. I'll give you that.
The overall talent is better. What are you talking about, Rob? Are you serious right now? You're not serious. Get out of here.
I think if you push me, I'd take 24.
Push? You don't need to be pushed. You're crazy.
I'd take 24 because of the depth.
Come on. James Cook not better than all them dudes. And 21. Come on, dog. Come on, man. It's 24 all the way. It's not even debatable.
The depth is better in 24. I'm not arguing with you.
You're crazy. All right. So and now you gotta look at the rest of the AFC, the potential players, right? So I would say this iteration of the Ravens.
Kansas City is 21 by a mile.
Yeah.
Was the better team.
For sure. You got who are the
They didn't even win the Super Bowl that year.
Who are the real contenders in the AFC? It was the Chiefs, the Bengals. They were a powerhouse. The Titans were they were tough. They were a tough out. Right?
Yeah, but they were you're talking about a middle of the pack team. You know what I mean?
Were we talking the Colts and the Steelers? It's this year. I don't know.
I'd have to look it up. No, I think the 21 year is better. Are you looking at the 21 season right now? Do you have
I'm gonna pull it up. But I do think that I think maybe the top end was better in 21. I think there's more parity in 24.
Oh, I disagree with that. What do you got under the 7th seed in the NFL?
Right now? The Broncos.
I know. What do you got under the 7th seed?
Let's see. 2021 playoffs. And we will put this to bed. NFL playoffs. Let's check it out. This is interesting. I think this is all right. So we had the Browns. The Browns were the 6th seed. the Ravens were the 5th seed. Titans were the 4th seed.
Yeah,
the Colts were the 7th seed.
That was a nice team.
That was a nice team. Very good on defense. Good weapons on. I mean, he had weapons galore on offense. They should have beat the Chiefs. Remember in that playoff game?
Yeah,
they should have beat the Chiefs. The Colts. So Colts Broncos. Give me. I probably said that Colts team's better. I don't know, man.
Way better. That Colts team's way better. The Bills. Yeah. The Bills almost lost to them.
True. All right, so we'll go with the Colts.
You're so not ready for this. Oh my God.
What was that?
You're so not ready for this. Oh my
God. What's that?
Go ahead. You can add it in there.
Steelers Browns. The Browns are in. Let's see who's the 6th seed this year. Most likely, the Chargers are probably the 6th seed. Chargers Steelers again. Chargers Steelers. I would say
21 Steelers. 21 Steelers were trash. I would say probably Chargers this year.
Was that was the year they won all those games and everybody thought they were crowning them. Everybody's crowning them till the Bills spanked them.
I'd have to look at the playoff.
I think that's the year because they were like undefeated for 11 weeks or something like that. I think that's the year.
No, that's the year before because the Bills and Chiefs played in the divisional round, and the Browns that almost beat the Chiefs was in the divisional round. It was after they punked the Steelers.
All right, so we're gonna say the field was better in 21.
I'm pulling it up now. Why don't you put up that screen share that I've got up there?
Oh, hold on. I'm looking at something else. Let me
Yeah, why don't you Uh-oh.
You ain't saying nothing.
Uh-oh.
Bro, that I don't
Devin
care.
Devin Singletary 2021 versus
Listen.
Devin, hold on. You told me to say something, so now I'm going to say something. That's Devin Singletary 2021 versus James Cook, an incomplete 2024. Yards per attempt. What does that say?
Hold on.
No, just tell me what it says.
I can't read.
Oh, you can. Yards per attempt, 4.6 for Devin Singletary, 4.7
the
for
stats
James
lie.
Cook.
You know, they say stats don't lie. These stats lie. These stats are lying.
Of course, these ones lie.
These ones are lying.
You liked,
bro.
Yeah, okay.
James Cook now. Devin Singletary 2021, dog. Come on, man.
All I'm saying is the gap is not that big, dog.
It is, bro. It is, dog. It is. Look. 17 games. Man's only got 7 touchdowns, bro. I saw. Hey,
gap is not that big,
dog. You capping. You are capping on that. All right, so back to it though. 2021. The field is better than 24. Is that what we're going with?
Okay, you can throw this back up there.
Okay, hold on.
Here's the field in 21.
All right.
Oh my God! I totally forgot about that Raiders Bengals game in.
Is that
in the first round?
21? Because I didn't mention New England
47-14. Yeah,
that was that year, huh?
Yeah. So Tennessee was the 1 seed, and they were a total. We all knew they were a sham, right? Like everybody was the same thing with the Steelers the year before. So Tennessee was the 1 seed. We all knew they were fake. Oakland was awful. So congratulations on making it into the playoffs. Cincinnati was better than we all thought. Turned out, we thought they were good, but I think everybody thought they were better.
Tennessee was the number 1 seed.
Look at what Kansas City did to Pittsburgh that year. Good Lord. So I mean,
it's tough, ain't it?
It is. I think maybe you're right. I think maybe the 24 is better.
Yeah.
I think 24 might be better, which is interesting.
Very interesting, right? So you're looking at I think those games will be a lot closer this year than in years past in the playoffs. So with that being said, I mean, and we'll take a quick jaunt over to the NFC real quick. I mean, there's a few contenders there. There's 3 teams. I think the Packers are a real team. I think the Eagles and the Lions. Those are the 3 contenders, right? Those are the top 3 in my opinion. NFC side. The Eagles, best defense in the league. You got all 3 of those quarterbacks can hoop. All 3 of them dudes can play.
I've never seen anyone play basketball, but they're pretty good at football.
Hoop, so it's the same. You just
Jared Goff, I don't think can hoop. I don't.
Hey, Jared Goff, hey, dog, you hating on you sleeping on Goff like you sleeping on Cook. You're sleeping on my dog.
I'm not. He's just not the most athletic quarterback.
The boys can hoop. Seen. All right, so and you get the drift. Okay, so you got those 3 teams are
I've started to turn a little bit on Minnesota.
I just wouldn't even count them in there.
I know. But what I'm saying is they're going to get to the divisional round, I think, unless they have to play one of those teams in the first round. Mm-hmm. I think they're going to get to the divisional round having to play like the NFC South champion or something like that. And I think they could give one of those teams trouble.
Okay.
But so here, let me tear you down a little bit because I understand what you're trying to get at here. But seriously, I think the NFC is good, but like a little bit of false good. So the Lions are a real team. They got 18 guys on injured reserve right now.
Let's have a quick chat about the Lions. I think they're a good football team, but I don't think they're as good as what people are making them to be.
That's what I'm saying. They clubbed fucking the Jaguars and the Titans. Congratulations. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, so did we.
Their last 3 games are Jaguars, Titans, Bears, and that's why everybody's talking about them in this rarefied air.
The Bears game was close, right? Who else did they play close?
They lost their captain, their linebacker. They lost their all-world defensive end.
Mm-hmm.
Of the 8 starting defensive linemen of the 8 linemen they had on their starting 53, there's like 1 of them that's left that's not injured. They're missing 2 of their 4 linebackers or something like that. I mean, it's crazy how many injuries that they have. So it's not that I don't think the Lions are a very good team. I question how healthy that they're going to be by the time they get to the playoffs. And on top of that, which we've seen derail these Bills teams. You know what I mean? We know what that's like. So, and then on top of that, who catches them because they're not healthy through this last part of the season? With 2 teams in their division that I think they still have to play, both of them who are hot on their heels, Green Bay and Minnesota, they can't afford to slip and still get the number 1 seed. Not to mention that the Eagles are there pushing too. So I just don't think that they're going to end up with the 1 seed, and they need that bye. You know what I mean?
So is it safe to say that the Eagles are the best team in the NFC then?
No, I think the Lions are the best team.
Still
in the
think
NFC.
The Lions. I think the Eagles are better.
Well, so are you asking with injuries? Because
you have to take that into consideration, right?
Okay, yeah. So those are 2 different questions to me. Like, who's the best team? I think the Lions are the best team in the NFC.
Healthy, even playing right. Mm-hmm.
Yep. But who's the best team right now in the NFC? I think that's the Eagles.
Yep.
Now, here's the thing. Are we going to see a Nick Sirianni explosion?
Probably.
Can Vic Fangio and Kellen Moore control that wobbling ship enough, right? Can they be good enough assistant coaches that they keep Sirianni on track? Because winning cures everything, which it does. So, that's my main concern with them. The Eagles, I mean, it's a close race for Eagles and Lions about who has the most talented roster. But I think the Lions have a more dependable quarterback and a more dependable coach, even though he's fucking crazy.
And it's not even, excuse me, it's not even Jalen Hurts. That's like, it's freaking Saquon Barkley. Saquon Barkley is holding that whole ship together.
But it's the same thing with Baltimore, right? Like, it's that you have a quarterback that's a threat and a running back that's a threat, and they're both real threats. You know what I mean?
Big play threats. Like, it's.
I am in love with their drafts on defense. I know you were a big Quinyon Mitchell guy. I liked Cooper DeJean. I'm a huge Jalen Carter fan. I like Nakobe Dean. Like the last couple of years, they have rebuilt their defense, and I love the talent on that Eagles team. I really do.
And you still got guys like Josh Sweat that's just phenomenal.
And then they pick up some special teamer, I can't even remember his name, who's playing middle linebacker for him now. Vic Fangio's like, I think we're going to put him at middle linebacker. And
Zach
he's playing
Bond.
A Pro Bowl level. It's
Zach Bond, as you were talking about, man.
Yeah.
It's like,
crazy.
dog, it's
he was a special teamer, and he's going to go to a Pro Bowl this year.
He was great at Wisconsin. Dude, I mean, there's
I don't
nothing
think anybody
new.
saw this. I don't think anybody saw this.
Yeah.
I'll look forward to you sending me your draft notes on him that says he was going to be an all-pro type player.
I don't think all-pro, but he was good at Wisconsin, man. He was good.
And then when you go down the ledger, I mean, I think the Packers are legit. Now, the question I think there is, how healthy is Jordan Love? And I think that has fluctuated a lot over the year. And as it fluctuates, they win and lose games. You know what I mean? And
right.
It's just going to, when the time comes, when they are in these battles, is he healthy or not? I think that's what it comes down to.
We should mention Jaden Reed being a Friends top 10 receiver in the league. I think it's time people start having that conversation. That boy can play. He good, man.
Top 10, I feel like, is a little generous,
fringe. I said okay. Fringe, right?
Right.
So like the 10 to 15 range.
Okay, all right. I was going to say top 15, so I can get behind that.
Yeah, he's the dude's good, man.
But how about what they did? Like, we're going to have 25 second-round picks, and we're just going to see which one of them turns out to be a top 10 wide receiver.
Crazy.
And then we'll pay him. You know what I mean?
It's like they didn't really think that through. They were just like, "Fuck it, we're just take another one.
Shit against
take another one.
Take another one. See what sticks." Yeah,
I can't give them too much credit for that.
I can't.
But it pans out now. It just,
and I do also. I think they deserve credit for the Aaron Jones, Josh Jacobs swap.
Why did you do it? I mean, like both those guys. I mean, Josh Jacobs he's balling, dog. Aaron Jones is good too, man. Aaron Jones is good. He's still good.
Yeah, but I think Josh Jacobs has been better this year, and so
he has been. He has been.
I think they upgraded, and I think it takes balls to do that. When you're moving off a good player, it takes balls to get rid of somebody in their prime and say, "Nope, we're going to go pay this other guy."
I'm not paying a running back.
Right
I'm
under
not
your
paying
nose.
it.
Well, I mean, they're still paying Josh Jacobs. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I get it. I mean, I'm just not paying that kind of money to a running back. So this is not my forte. But I get it. And you know, shout out to the older running backs, man, they're showing teams, hey, the running back market is still alive. I mean, you're gonna have to start paying these guys.
What they're showing them is when you're special, you're special.
You're special.
And there were guys who came into the league and were special and got treated like that. And then even as the running back position was getting devalued, like Adrian Peterson was still treated as special. And then in this latest iteration, Saquon Barkley came in and we all knew he was special and they didn't treat him like he was special.
Right.
Derrick Henry came in. We all knew he was special. They didn't treat him as special. And even in a devalued running back market, they're proving you should have still treated us as special. Because even though we're running backs, we're still blue chip players and we're freaks. And we will be good, you know, deeper into our career than the average running back, you know?
Okay, so, all right, so that's so we put the full picture together, okay? Now, let's talk about coaching for the Bills, okay? I feel like this is the best version of Sean McDermott we've seen. What are your thoughts on that?
Okay, real quickly before we change gears here, let's just look at the NFC playoffs from 21. Okay, San Francisco, absolute dog. Dallas still really good, right?
Choked as usual,
but still really good.
That
Rams team, great. Obviously, won the Super Bowl. I think that Arizona team was good too.
They were good.
That Philadelphia team I don't think was very good. And neither was that Tampa Bay team. Oh, no.
That's what Tom Brady.
I take that back because that game that the Rams beat them, they almost.
That was phenomenal.
That was crazy.
That was a great game. That was a great game.
Yep, by the skin of their teeth. So I'll take that back. The Tampa Bay team was good. So, and then, as you move through the rounds here, this was the one that I think was the most surprising.
Yeah.
Is that you ended up with a 6 versus a 4 and the Rams were playing an NFC championship game at home. But that's why when I was sitting there, it was literally right before the Bills played 13 seconds, I was like, man, the NFC's falling apart right now. You got a 4 and a 6 in the NFC championship game. Like, if there's a year for you to go win a Super Bowl, this is it. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, you had it. You had it. So I would say back to coaching. Okay. Sean McDermott. He's a hot topic. I mean, Bills fans, I feel like this is probably the best version of Sean we've seen.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right?
Yeah. Yeah, I'd say that.
Bobby Babich versus Leslie Frazier. Give me Babich.
I hope.
I know it's hard to say when he hasn't played a playoff game, right? Or coached a playoff game.
It's here's the thing. The plan was always better with Leslie.
Yeah.
It's been a problem this year. And you're on the text thread I have with the boys, with the fellas. San Francisco marches right down the field and everybody's terrified of what's happening. And I have to remind everybody we don't freak out about first drives because their ability to adapt and change and get the right game plan in place after just one drive has been incredible. It's been very good. He needs to be able to do that in the playoffs, and they're going to have something extra for him. They're going to have something extra for Babich. So he needs to be ready for that.
I think Leslie was prepared. However, I don't see maybe some of the nuance or the improvement throughout the game like I do with Babich.
Oh, see, I would say for me the main difference is the aggressiveness. Like Babich is not afraid to heat it up.
Yeah.
He trusts his guys. And it was always very conservative with Leslie.
Right. Keep it in front of you.
Yep.
Strangle you when you get to
Old
the 20
school.
and in, right? Very old school. Front four make a play, which I mean, I don't blame him for putting the pressure on the front four. I mean,
so I would hesitantly, without seeing the whole year, say Babich, but it's close. The plan was always better with Leslie. It was when he had to make an adjustment that was the problem.
Yep. Offense coordinator. I think this is a clear.
I mean, you know who I'm in love with.
Yeah. I mean,
and I like Joe a lot too.
But. Yeah, I like Joe Brady too. But give me the man, Brian Daboll.
Yeah, and you and I are big Daboll fans. There are not a lot of us amongst the Bills fan base. If we are the silent majority because all I hear is how terrible people think he was.
That's crazy.
That man was innovative. He was a killer, and I think it's why he didn't get along with McDermott because McDermott was constantly trying to rein him in, to saddle him a little bit. And he just wanted to rip people apart. I mean, he wanted to put up 50 and go for the throat.
You know who he reminds me of? His play call style? Bruce Arians. Daboll and Bruce Arians have a lot of similarities. And I no risk it, no biscuit. And I felt like he made Josh's strengths, like he maxed them out, it felt like. You know what I mean? Like he really put pressure on defenses of how he utilized Josh Allen.
Yeah.
I think Brady uses him best for the longevity of a career. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But Daboll was a very no risk it, no biscuit kind of approach to play calling. So, but I would still take Brian Daboll right now or at that moment. I would take Daboll in this situation. And it's not a knock against Joe Brady. I do like what Joe Brady's doing. I do like, you talk about innovation, right? Like you're starting to see more and more of it with um, with Brady. I think his game plans are better, like from start to finish. I just feel like Dayball was more dynamic,
Definitely more dynamic.
right?
Definitely. And so, it's because Dable was dynamic, you didn't have to deal with, altering your plan as much because he had such a big menu of stuff to go to that he just started to go somewhere else if what he was planning on doing wasn't working. Brady, on the other hand, will hit you over the head with something until you show him you're going to stop it.
Right.
And because of that, he needs to be better at changing the plan. Which, like we said, I mean, we have talked about it on this podcast a bunch of times. They deserve credit because their in-game adjustments have been great, and that goes for Joe too. But he has to be great because if his plan's not working, there's a big problem.
Wouldn't you say though that game. I mean, for me, hearing that, and knowing that gives me like it makes me feel better just because like Brady and our defensive coordinator Babbage, I feel like I feel good about that going into the playoffs. Just like they're not going to be in over their head,
I don't think they'll be in over their head, but some of the more veteran play callers, I feel like, are going to confuse them by going through a whole bunch of different stuff.
Yeah.
Right? Like they're gonna show you something, you're gonna make an adjustment, and they will already have moved on to the next thing.
Yeah.
Because it's the playoffs and you don't hold anything back. And they've never seen that before as coordinators. Brady maybe in like a CFP when he was with LSU. But, it's going to be different when Spagnuolo is doing something different to you every single drive because it's Bills versus Chiefs in the playoffs.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you're gonna have to roll with it in the middle of the drive. You're gonna have to make adjustments and changes and try to outsmart them.
Yeah, and part of me feels like, I mean, I know the Bills beat the Chiefs and stuff, a few weeks ago. I just feel like Spags, he's got some stuff ready to go.
Both do. Spags and Reed both do. Spags and Reed will pull something from 1996 and put it. You know what I mean? And that's the advantage when you trust your guys. You know what I mean?
Yep. So. Okay. So in total, I feel like
you're forgetting one really big aspect.
Especially talking about special teams.
Not special teams, but a specific part of it.
Oh, the kicker.
Yeah, I mean it matters, and it
Bass in 21 for sure.
Yeah, and without question.
There's no question.
But like that might be the scariest thing about the 2024 Buffalo Bills.
Yeah,
is if it comes down to that right leg.
None
of us gonna feel good about it.
It can't.
Ain't none of us gonna feel good about it.
Hold on, and shout out to my guy Brian Bowers, man. What's good with you, dog? A game can't come to that. It can. We cannot get in a game where we are relying on Tyler Bass to win or tie a game. I can't.
You might not have a choice.
Oh, dog. I don't know if I can't, bro. I cannot do it.
I'm just telling you. And it makes
I know.
Because in 21, if it would have came down to Bass hitting a long field, I would have felt great about it.
Yeah, you're right.
Nails.
We're calling him Bass money back then.
Bass-o-matic.
Yeah, like.
Yeah. So I think we've come down real even so far on 24 versus 21 in terms of the roster and the coaching. I think that we've come down so even that has to play a factor on which team we think is better.
I'm not sure if Harrison Butker's back yet, but I think he will be for the playoffs.
Yeah,
he will be for the playoffs.
Said he definitely will be for the playoffs.
Okay, so with all that being said, I do feel like this is the coaching staff right now in 2024 suits Sean better than it did in 21. I think the cohesion's much better.
Okay.
I think I mean, it's debatable. I don't know. It just feels that way. From outsider looking in.
Well, Well, so the reason that I'm not saying too much about it, so I guess let me start by saying this. I am a guy who, if I'm a teacher, I do better, right? Like when I have people who are leaning on me, who need me to help them figure out stuff, explaining it to them, I learn better that way. You know what I mean? I learn things about myself. I learn things about the topics that we're doing. And so this is not me taking a shot at McDermott, but it feels like McDermott back then needed to trust his guys more. And McDermott now, because he's in this Papa role, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
He's in a better spot for that kind of thing.
All right. So, with all that being said, I think this is the Bills' best shot to get to the Super Bowl. Win a Super
21?
Bowl.
Yeah, sure, of course.
No, 24. Well, 21. Hey, man, 21.
Since 21.
21 was the year. It was
listen,
the year.
Here's the thing that you can't quantify. Because I mean, as we've gone through the rosters and so on and so forth and tried to be analytical about it, we've ended with a 50-50 split, right? So, and that team was. Here's the thing that you can't quantify. Coming off a perfect game. Literally, they scored a touchdown on every drive they tried to score a touchdown in the playoffs. That Josh Allen catching that kind of groove. I don't know if he ever does that again.
Yeah, no, it was magical. It really was magical.
If he does, he wins a Super Bowl, right? Like he should have won a Super Bowl that year. He was absolutely on fire. He was in his flow state. He caught a groove. He was crushing fools. However you want to say it, he was dunking on people left and right. And if he ever finds a groove like that again, he's winning a Super Bowl. That being said, he should have won it that year. That being said, you can't count on him finding a groove like that.
I don't know, man.
I want you to think about what a struggle it was in the 2020 playoffs.
Yeah, no, you can't count on him to get a groove, but I think he has a better supporting cast in total to facilitate so where he doesn't have to carry as much.
2020, I'd say he had a better regular season than he did either 21 or 24. And what happened in the playoffs? Totally stalled out.
It wasn't him though.
Totally stalled. Well, but they totally stalled out. 21, he catches the groove, heats everybody up. Incredible, right? 22, I mean, not a great game against the Dolphins. Right?
Yeah.
And we all just say like
Thompson.
Yeah, we all just say like, oh, they ran out of gas. Okay, I get it. That's fair. And it was a tough year. But they barely got past the Dolphins, and then they got smacked by and I mean smacked. That's the worst playoff game he's played.
Yeah.
That was worse than the 20 AFC Championship game was that Bengal game. And then last year, barely got by the Steelers. Right? Like it should have been more of an ass beating. It was not.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, did I thought, like you said, I don't think he let the Bills down versus the Chiefs, but he also wasn't in that groove that we're talking about. And that's what I mean. Like if he gets into the playoffs and catches that groove again,
I think he can. I think he since 21
capable. He's absolutely
since 21 he is. I think he's better equipped to do that than he has in recent memory.
And I think the pain helps him too.
Yeah.
To be honest with you.
Yeah.
Getting punked like that, I think helps. I think it helps keep you calm. I think it helps make you feel like you've been there before. It's why I'm worried about him in his first Super Bowl whenever he gets there, because it'll be something new. It'll be a new stage, and he might just get sugar high Josh Allen again. You know what I mean?
I don't think we'll see that from him in the playoffs this year.
Listen, he could, he could have matured enough that that's no longer a problem, right?
Yeah, yeah.
It's not only a less mature Josh, it's a younger Josh. It's a totally different person that we're talking about. So yeah, I don't dismiss that, but it's a concern of mine. You know, if and when he plays in his first Super Bowl, how is he going to react? So
I don't know, man. I think Josh is, I think, I think where he's at mentally, I mean, I'm speaking for him. I don't know, but I just, the way it looks, it just appears that he's in a groove. And I feel comfortable with this iteration of Josh in 24 than I
you
have
want
in, you know.
you want to have an uncomfortable conversation?
Sure.
Did they get hot too early?
Nah. I still feel like
it doesn't worry you at all because it
no,
worries me.
I'll tell you why, because you got guys that aren't in the fold, like Keon Coleman, Dalton Kincaid, and you're still working the kinks out with Amari Cooper. So I feel like there's still a lot of meat left on the bone with the offense.
I do think there's meat left on the bone with the offense.
So that's why I think it's different,
Okay. I mean, that's fair. I'm not overly concerned about it, but there is a little voice in the back of my head that is saying, like, 7 in a row. You know what I mean? Like, you took those 2 losses, you took them early. They were tough. You really got blasted in one of them. And maybe that woke this team up, but is it a team? Can it stay awake for the whole run?
I think they can, man.
I mean?
I typically will have the same mindset and take that you just had, but I do think that this Bills team is a little different this year. And it's taken me a while to get my mind around like what we're seeing. And I think because of that, you got other teams in the AFC that aren't very consistent. And I feel like the Bills are showing consistency. You know what I mean? And I think that matters where it matters is offensive line. I think, and you have a very balanced stable of running backs, very balanced in skill set, which I think means a ton. Whereas Josh didn't have those kind of crutches back in past few years. He just hasn't had it. I think that stuff goes a long way. So you don't necessarily need Josh to be 2021 version. I'm going to light the world up. But what you do need on schedule, on time, ball out, make good decisions, score touchdowns. Rely on your playmakers to make touchdowns.
I think that's the big thing that we never really talk about from 21. And we have talked about throughout the course of the season, and we need to focus on. This defense is built to be ahead.
Mm-hmm.
This offense is built to be ahead. When you get the ball first in that 9er's game on Sunday, when you're in the playoff, like that's got to be a touchdown drive. And then everything fits your narrative, right?
Right.
So what was so amazing about that 21 game versus the Chiefs is that we were behind 2 scores at a couple different points.
Yeah.
And Josh brought us all the way back, right? That's why it was so incredible. But I think the key for this team as you get into games that really matter and get into playoff games is let them fear you. Let them be thinking, be the Patrick Mahomes, be the Tom Brady, right? Don't give him Josh the ball again. He's going to go score. And I think Josh is good enough to put that fear into teams. But you saw what happens versus Baltimore when you let a team get up on you a little bit, and then all of a sudden you're the one flailing, trying to hammer long passes and,
big play hunting and overdoing it.
Exactly,
yeah, man.
Exactly. This team isn't built for that. This team is built to play from ahead. And so I think Josh needs to have that poise and maturity to know I got to go down and score. I got to put points on the board, and then I got to keep the pressure on because that's what's going to make this team the most effective.
Yep. So I do think that this team is the best version of the Bills that can go win a Super Bowl. Like, and tell me if you're here, because I think a lot of times I'm going to speak for Bills fans here. We get so caught up in what hasn't happened and maybe a little bit of a drought baby going on. Like, just nothing good can happen to us. Right. And I think, you can't have I take that back. Typically, generational quarterbacks like Josh Allen, they're going to play in a Super Bowl. They are going. I'm not saying win one, because Dan Marino didn't get it done, but typically they're in a position where they're at the doorstep, and all you need is that door to open and you take the first step. I think Josh and this Bills team, I think they're at the doorstep. They're there. They can win a Super Bowl this year. They can. They can. They can. And it's time to get excited. Like the regular season is almost over. So if you're the 1 seed, that's the best path, obviously. Make it come through Buffalo. But hey, if you're the 2 seed, I'm okay with that too. I'm okay with that.
I'm not.
I know you're not.
I'm not.
I mean, the realistically,
what's the one thing you haven't done during this run?
No, that is the one thing you haven't done.
Make the Chiefs play a game that you did. And listen, last year we talked about, well, you haven't got them in your house. Well, you got them in your house and you choked.
Yeah.
Not Josh, but the team choked.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So what's the one thing you haven't done now?
Yeah.
Get the one.
You got to get them in Buffalo as the number 1 seed.
Get the bye. Make them play an extra game.
Yeah. Make them fight. Make them fight the Ravens or somebody like the Chargers. Make them go toe to toe with them boys, right? But I think this is the year, man. I think it's the year.
Can we talk something just you and me here?
Yeah.
Nobody's watching, right?
Nah.
So, I only did this one other time. But today, not knowing that we were going to have this conversation, by the way, you know what I did?
You put a bet on the Bills win the Super Bowl.
Oh, no, I do that every offseason. I already got one of those.
Okay.
You want to know what I did?
Yeah.
I looked at flights the night of February 9th from Denver to Buffalo in case I'm here. And for some reason, on February 10th, I would want to wake up in Buffalo. And I looked at flights for the Thursday before February 9th from Denver to New Orleans just to get a feel for what the prices are if for some reason on February 9th I felt like going down to the Bayou. You know what I mean? If I wanted to check out Bourbon Street. So I don't do that often. But I'm thinking to myself, even if I'm with my boys here, watching a game that starts at 4:30. I don't know if maybe the Nuggets play that day or something like that. I don't know. Sitting here watching a game on February 9th at 4:30, and like 4 hours goes by, and then I want to find myself in Buffalo the next day after a big Sabres win. I just wanted to see what the prices of those flights would be.
Well, Sabres just lost to the Avs 5-4 when they were up 4-0, but hey, whatever. I do think this. When the Bills win the Super Bowl this year.
Wow, he can't be.
Not if, but when. Okay. See what I just did there?
Okay.
I won't be at the Super Bowl, but I will be on the first flight to Buffalo. First flight. I'm telling you right now. It's time to wake up, people. It's time to wake up and realize that you have a Super Bowl caliber team. And there's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing wrong with it. And Rob over there feels like he needs to leave the conversation. But I'm bringing you back. Okay?
I didn't hear what you said. I don't.
But you did. You heard it. You heard it.
No, I didn't.
This is a team. This is a team that can get to the Super Bowl and win it. And I think it's time. Well, you're going to start seeing more and more talk like it. I'll tell you that right now.
That's great. Other people can talk like that. You should, that's fine. But other people can.
I can, and I will, and I just did.
Let's talk takeaways from this Snow Bowl here. Because I do think there are some things to take away. Before you have two more real big road games, both in primetime windows.
Mm-hmm.
Both essentially, for lack of a better term, because CBS doesn't really have a name for it, but both America's game of the week in that late window, right? Yeah.
Thoughts from the Snow Bowl. I think it was a fun game. It's really hard to to me it was a standalone game because it's really hard. It's hard to evaluate because the conditions just were what they were, right? Like,
but I think evaluating what they did in those conditions matters, because I feel like the cold weather, despite the fact that we had done okay in it, I feel like it was as much a disadvantage for us as it was for the other team in years past.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, look, they played their ass off. They looked the part.
How
right?
about this? How much better is that offensive line? Last year, I feel like it was really good, but years before that, when you're talking like that Baltimore Ravens game, the Taron Johnson pick game, right? Like, I just didn't feel like we handled the weather very well. Now, we came out on top, but I didn't feel like we handled the same thing with the Indianapolis game. So,
yeah, no,
I think it's important to evaluate how this team plays in that.
That's
weather.
fair. That's fair. Josh was phenomenal in that weather. Yep. I mean, like ripping it in wind and snow. That's impressive.
And I think we can point to the New England wind game for that.
Yeah.
Personally. Because they waited to let Josh try to rip balls in that wind.
Yep.
And it cost them the game that day.
That's on Sean.
And I think since then, Sean has had the mindset of, I don't care what the weather is. 17's my guy. And
let him play. Let him play. And I think that speaks to the maturation of Sean over the years. I mean, we could be hard on him all we want and so forth, but man, like he's grown since then. Like, now situationally in the playoffs, we're going to see this year what it looks like. If he's not calling fake punts to DeMar Hamlin, because that still happened.
Yeah, I know. And yes, he had the no punt, the perfect game in colder weather, Walter. That is true. But it wasn't the same kind of elements. It wasn't wind. It wasn't snow. It was just really cold. And so he let him go for that one too. But that was after the wind game. And I do think that Sean learned a little bit that day, the wind game day. Like, you have a centaur at quarterback. This is why you went and got the big strong arm quarterback. Let him do it. So yeah, that's kind of to my point. So listen, I thought they played real good in the elements. Wind, snow didn't bother them. Let's talk about 3 turnovers for the Niners, 0 for the Bills. You know what I mean? I think all that stuff matters when you're evaluating what's going on.
I do like the defense in this game. I mean, people can complain about the run defense all they want, but when did it really matter? Has it mattered all season? I mean, you did see the only game it mattered was the Ravens because they just took the game away. We played their game, right? They dictated terms very early. But the running, I mean, the Bills are just we'll give you everything between the 20s.
Right.
And we're going to stiffen up as we get close to the goal line.
And that's the big thing to me. Like, they did that again, and that is the key. That's the key to this team.
Yeah, with Christian McCaffrey, who was knocking off some good runs early, and but even in our chat, we were just like, yeah, they're going to tighten it up because now they know Brock Purdy and their passing offense was a pretty much non-existent. Brock Purdy wasn't throwing in those conditions. He just doesn't have the physicality and the arm strength to really, get their team to go up and down the field throwing the football. So, advantage Bills. Offensive line played their ass off though. The offensive line, man, it was really good. They played a really, really good game. Go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just saying it really complimented the Bill stable of backs with James Cook and those guys having a pretty awesome day. Like, so that's something to hang your hat on, man. This offensive line, I feel like it continues to get better as the year progresses. Shout out to Aaron Cromer. That's only going to bode well in the playoffs.
Well, and what I loved about it is that they're running really simple schemes and still dominating. Like, this is not like Mike McDaniel draws up some crazy shit, and then of course they have a good rushing game. You know what I mean? He does it with play design. Bills are running simple stuff and just bludgeoning people.
Yeah.
I mean, they showed the example of them running duo on 2 plays with, Alec Anderson in as the big tight end. So really 6 offensive linemen. And they're just running duo. I mean, it's not anything
right. You run out Pop Warner.
Yeah, and they scored 2 touchdowns on it. Ray Davis from 10 yards out and James Cook from 60 yards out. You know what I mean? And so that was, to your point, one of the things that was even more encouraging to me is it's not like they were getting cute. Like, right. they were just dominating. You know what I mean? And some of that probably had to do with the footing and stuff like that. But I think it's a good sign for the offensive line overall.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like this was the first time we've seen it. They've been doing it all season. Yeah. And it's I'm encouraged with that. I mean, the time that he had in the pocket to throw the football. I mean, he sat back there. He could have sat back there as long as he wanted to, and surveyed the field and made a play. So, shout out to. I mean, and then the playmaking ability from the defense as a whole is just remarkable.
I mean, let's talk about your boy Taylor Rapp. Yeah, here he is
knocking a football out. I mean, Christian Benford picks it up. Taylor Rapp. You know what's funny is that the fans voted DeMar Hamlin in for the Pro Bowl. He's a leading vote getter,
which is comeback player of the year. Not
listen. To each his own. Yeah. But Taylor Rapp has earned. I think he should be the one in that position. He's the one that
deserves it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he had the peanut punch on Juszczyk at the goal line, and he's the one. Unfortunately, it injured McCaffrey, but he's the one that tripped up McCaffrey, stopped him going for 75 yards and a touchdown on that play.
How many times has he done that this season?
Right, and that's what you need from your safety, and it's something that we were worried about that you would lose with Hyde and Poyer. So, I mean, credit to Rapp. He played really well. I thought. I mean, he does often, but I thought Terrell Bernard had another fantastic game.
Yeah.
So,
and it was nice seeing Matt in the game. I just think I think he's back. I think he's only going to get better progressively as the season goes on, and I'm just happy that he's back in there. I want to see. I think the true test though will come this weekend when they play on a not snowy field, where he has good footing and so forth. I think we'll get to see what Matt Milano is really about and where he is in his progress of healing.
I want to see this whole team in a dome on a fast track. Like I just want to I want to see them really let loose here. I really do.
Yeah, no, man. And when are we going to see Kincaid and Coleman? Like, are they better
next week? I really think.
I hope it is. I hope it is. We saw Josh grimace with his hand a little bit. I was a little concerned about that. I don't know if you were.
That scared me during the game.
Yep.
But he said afterwards it was a funny bone thing. I don't know if you heard that.
Josh ain't gonna tell you the truth.
Well, listen. Did you see it affect him at all?
No, I mean, it's his non-throwing hand.
Well, but even so, his non-throwing hand after the Cardinals, like he was handing off the ball.
All funky, yeah.
Yeah, remember? Mm-hmm. So I think if it was actually bad, you would have seen some of that, and you didn't.
Yeah.
So,
Mark Cooper.
Let's talk about the play.
Yeah, that's what I was getting to. Man. First of all, F you, Chris Collinsworth, and his commentary. Oh, Mahomes, I mean, just the Mahomes glazing. I just
it bothers everybody more.
Yeah, it's like, bro, calm down, my dude. Calm the F down. All right.
He's fine. It doesn't bother me.
But the play, man, terrible throw by Josh. First of all, let's get that out the way. Yeah, it was terrible throw. He too much on it.
Him on that play, not spectacular. But overall, that play,
the headiness,
right? Like
right?
All of it.
The awareness to
when you add everything up, it's an incredible play. But there are, like, his throw was bad on that play. He said he's drifting over because he thought it was going to get tipped and picked, right? When he catches the ball, he's just kind of flat-footed. And, like, then he makes this incredible run and dive when it didn't have to be that hard. You know what I mean?
It's the same dive against the Vikings in his rookie year. Right,
which is one of my favorite pictures of him.
Man, dog.
And this one is going to replace it because it's full of snow and at home.
Man,
but I always thought that Superman dive was cooler than the jump over bar, and everybody always posted the picture of the jump over bar. And I just thought the dive picture. I mean, they're both great, but crazy.
Man, yeah, that's one of the top 5 Josh Allen plays, top 2 or 3 I've ever seen from him in his career.
Yeah, I tweeted out from our Denver Bills backers group, like, it does not matter what he accomplishes, how much longer he plays, what moments they are. That is going to go on the all-time highlight reel. Whether you're putting 3 plays on there or 5 plays on there or 10 plays on there, or it's an hour-long Josh Allen jerk-off fest, it is going to be in that video is going to be in there.
It's up there with the Elway helicopter. You know, like that.
I gotta stop you there.
No, come on now.
It's a little bit too much hyperbole.
No, it's not. It is not.
Listen, if he did that in the Super Bowl to get his,
and what makes you think
to get him and his team the first championship, then it's going
to happen this year. It's going to happen this year.
Okay, great. And whatever play he makes in that game, then yes, that's on the Elway helicopter level. But that Elway, you have to understand that Elway helicopter level.
Look, I knew I'd get you going.
Whole different thing. You cannot.
I just did it. Okay, I just did it.
That is in the Super Bowl.
I don't care.
I'm pretty sure they were down to pick up a first down, to score a touchdown, to win his first championship and the franchise's first championship. You can't. It's not. You can't compare it. You can't. Not even close.
Oh, man. All right, so
Josh has the opportunity to make that play in his career. Don't get me wrong.
You put Josh in the Super Bowl, he gonna flip over somebody. I'm just telling you right now.
That's what I'm saying. Like he has the opportunity. What I will say, because I don't like talking like you do, is he has the opportunity in his career to do that. He can be that guy.
What do you mean like you do? Hey, you know what I'm saying? Like, come on now.
Because I can go back and pull up the podcast from the beginning of the year when you weren't quite so blustery.
Somebody's got to around here, dog.
But hey, what have I been saying for like a month now? If he has a big game versus San Francisco or Detroit, he wins the thing.
I think what is he betting favorites? 290.
He had a big game versus San Francisco. It was aesthetically pleasing, the second highest rated Week 13 Sunday Night Football game ever. Guess what?
Yeah, San Francisco. I mean, sorry, Detroit's the finale. Which they're so banged up. How can he not have a good game?
He just has to not puke on himself that game.
Right.
But as long as he doesn't, he's the MVP.
You can put a fork in it.
And here's one thing, and we have talked about this a couple times kind of in passing. One of the biggest detriments to Josh is that he has to play in bad weather at the end of the season when people are making their final decisions about MVP. I think it's why he's come up second a whole bunch of times, because his numbers start to tail off just because the weather. He's got 2 dome games back to back here.
I know,
in December. Like, go dog, go get to your 40 touchdowns for the 5th straight season. You've got the Heisman moments already with the run versus KC and the lateral versus San Francisco. He just has to not puke on himself.
Right.
And I think he's got his first MVP.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, he'll be able to get, that off his back for sure. I mean, MVP is not the most important thing, but I just think he doesn't get the credit that he deserves because he doesn't have any hardware, right?
Yeah. Well, and we have to listen to people who talk about Lamar chirp at Josh like he's not as good because he hasn't won an MVP.
He's better.
And like I think Lamar is great. Like, I am not taking shots at Lamar, but if you think that those two guys are on different levels and Lamar is the one that is above, Like, I don't.
Yeah.
You can either say that they're on the same level to me, or I will have a discussion about Josh being the one that's on a level above. But like, it's just because he's
both
got
can
a
be
couple of
great.
these trophies.
Both
Yes.
quarterbacks can be great. It doesn't have to be
Yep.
one or the other. You know, people get so wrapped up in this fantasy land. Lamar's a great quarterback, but I think Josh is better. This is how I feel about it. You know, shoot me.
So I mean, that brings us to the next two games, dog. I mean, Los Angeles Rams. Like, don't sleep on it.
Yeah, no,
Because
man.
you and I talked about it. Like, this is a 3-game stretch where you got Niners, Rams, Lions, and if you can get through that, then you end Patriots, Jets, Patriots. Whereas the Chiefs' schedule from here on out is tough, dog. Sunday Night Football versus the Chargers. This week, they got games against Houston, at Pittsburgh, and at Denver left. I mean,
yeah, that's tough. And don't they play Steelers too?
that's what Pittsburgh is, yeah.
Really? Asshole.
Yeah, and listen, that Houston, Pittsburgh, Denver back to back is a Saturday game, a Wednesday game, and then you're at home.
Is that their 3-10 stretch? 3 games.
No, their
days?
3-10 stretch starts this week.
Okay.
Because it's Sunday Night Football versus the Chargers, Saturday versus. Oh no, maybe it doesn't start this week. Maybe it starts the week after. Yeah, it would start the week after. So, but that stretch is Houston at home for Saturday, a Saturday game, then Steelers on Christmas Day for a Wednesday game, and then at Denver to finish the season.
That's going to be tough. Whereas the Bills have
the
Patriots,
put the pressure on
Jets,
them.
Patriots. I mean, that's
I know, but you can't drop one of these two here and give them cushion. You know what I mean? Like, you have to be lurking right behind them to make that as terrifying as it sounds like. You know what I mean? And so I think these are two real important games here, man. I really do.
You almost need the Chiefs to lose at least 2 games. Because here's why. That last Patriots game or the Jets, I just don't trust one of those teams try to do some cheap bullshit. You know what I'm saying? Like, I would much rather start Trubisky.
I'm telling you right now, Trubisky is not going to start a game.
I know he's not.
Josh Allen has a Iron Man starting record that I think he cares a lot more about than anybody talks about. And for the MVP, Trubisky is not going to start a game. Not unless there's an actual injury.
I mean, he can start the game, but let Trubisky take the second half or something.
What I'm worried about is we lost to the Patriots last year. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I mean, it was a fluky thing, and the Bills
you have to be awake for all these games. You know what I mean?
You do. That's what I'm saying. Like, it would make me feel better if the Chiefs just went ahead and lost 2 games. 2 plus their 1.
I think it's possible they lose 3. I think they could lose to the Chargers.
But I ain't gonna count on it. I mean, they got the refs and they got
Broncos.
all this luck that they just pull these close games out.
But I think it matters that the
look who it is. Frankie J. Matthews. You remember on Sunday where I told y'all to take that over on Pittsburgh and the Bengals? Yeah. Tell me how that went, dog. Go ahead. Tell me how that went.
Listen, the fact that those games aren't at Arrowhead.
Hey,
I didn't say I'm worried about the Patriots. I said, don't think that you've got it made, is what I said. You need to show up and actually play these football games, because if you sleepwalk through it, you can lose to the freaking Patriots like you did last year, and I'm going to be pissed if you do that, because there's no way you should lose to that team.
I just think it's a different team, different mindset. I don't have a problem or a worry that they won't be up for a game. I just think so. I'm more like, okay, the injuries, man. Like, we're just getting healthy. The Jets are dirty. The Patriots, I just don't want any Bush League shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
that derails this team or gives them another hurdle that they have to overcome.
Kansas City is at Pittsburgh and at Denver. And you were talking about the refs being a problem. I think that helps.
Yeah, yeah.
I
think the Chargers can get him too. Chargers,
I do too, and
yeah, right.
I think
That's
Houston
3 games.
has an outside shot of being able to get him. They have not played well.
They
have not, but
no,
they almost
haven't.
lost. They almost lost to the Panthers. So, like, you know what I mean? I think any of these teams can get them. I think the ones you're really looking at are Chargers this week, Steelers on Christmas Day, and then at Denver.
Yeah. Man, boy, this is like the sweet spot in the NFL season, because we're gonna see who rises to the top. The cream rises to the top starting at this point, man. And you know what's nice is the Bengals. We don't have to worry about them. They're done. Stick a fork in them.
I want that bye week so bad.
I know, man. They got to get it.
That bye week.
They got to get it.
That game in Buffalo. Like, and here's the other thing. This is the underrated portion of it. And the Steelers are still on your heels. Like, don't forget. You know what I mean? That they are one loss behind you. Because you need to make sure that you're right next to the Chiefs in the standings, so you don't play them till an AFC championship game. Whether it's in Buffalo or in Kansas City, you need to make sure you end up with a 1 or a 2, because I think there's a good chance that another team knocks them off and you don't even have to deal with them, which would be annoying, because then we'd have to hear for a whole year about how they still can't beat the Chiefs, blah, 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 blah. They're not the ones who did it. But I don't care. If we don't have to play them and we can get to a Super Bowl, great. So it's important that you stay in the top 2. And for me, I really want that bye.
So you agree? Like, this is the Bills' best shot at winning the Super Bowl, right? Outside of 21.
Since 21, it's their best shot, yeah. Without question. I was thinking about how I was going to come on the podcast and say that. You just beat me to it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't think you could argue it anyway.
Yeah. I think
injuries last year, the craziness of the year before, 2020, they just weren't a fully formed unit yet. They were good, but they just weren't that good. If you want to get back into the 90s and talk about those teams, yeah. But this iteration of the Bills, this is, I think, one of your best shots.
And they haven't played their best football yet.
I agree with that.
Like,
I 100% agree.
There's so much, even in defense, man. There's still meat left on the bone. Offense, the same thing, man. It's just different, dog.
But on defense,
there's another gear. There's another gear that they can access when they get to the playoffs.
On defense, you've been doing what you had to do all year long, because you just only had so many horses and you had to just play certain ways and do certain things. You're now going to get to the point where enough of that talent is back that you don't have to do anything. Like, you're going to have enough talent on that field that you can play with it however you want. And I think there's absolutely another level on the defense. On the offensive side of it, I think it's just about, we started this year, and I talked before the first game about how I was nervous, because you're going to need a different level of Josh Allen on this team than you have in years past. And guess what? You've gotten it. And it's been electric to watch. Okay. He has taken command and control of that offense and that team. And it's why everybody's talking about him as the MVP. What he needs, I think, is to have solid relationships with all those weapons that he has, to believe in them in the toughest of situations. That's going to be what unlocks another level of that offense, is him feeling like about Shakir like he felt about Beasley. You know what I mean? Him feeling about Cooper the way he felt about Diggs. And when he feels like he can lean on them like that, that's what will unlock another gear in that offense.
Yeah. Man, I just feel like we cleared the deck tonight. You know? We cleared the deck tonight. Like, we got the monkey off our chest, if you will. The super, like, just the exhaling of, this team can do it. Like, they can do it. And I'll be honest, like, coming into the season, bro, I was like, nah, man, this.
We're both nervous about it.
Yeah.
We're both nervous about it.
Yeah.
I mean, you lost a lot of leadership.
Yeah, man.
And a lot of guys who had helped change the culture of this team over the past half decade. And it's honestly, can we be honest about those guys for a second? It's been hard to watch them. Like, I'm kind of glad Micah didn't go sign somewhere else, because J-Po down in Miami, I don't want Miami to do well for a second, but that's been tough. And Trey White, man, he's been playing better with Baltimore, but like he was real bad with the Rams for a little bit. Like that was real tough.
I had this thought, and tell me if you had it too. Do you feel like with the departures, maybe this Bills team wasn't as good as we thought? Seeing these guys in different situations, you know, just
your boy Brian is making the right point, and I think we all knew it.
Yeah,
they were past their prime. We all knew it. You don't want to see those guys go. They, like I said, laid down a foundation for the culture change in this team to where now a kid who is 15 years old thinks only of the Buffalo Bills as a dominant force in the NFL. Because since he was 7 years old, they've been a freaking playoff team. Like, I want you to think about that. A kid in high school thinks only of the Buffalo Bills
only
on the
knows
level of, like, the Pittsburgh Steelers, right?
Yeah.
And all of us who lived through a 17-year playoff drought look back at those guys and say, God, we waited for them for so long. And they came and they did it. They changed the culture. Listen, dog, if we do make it to the Super Bowl and the week before the Super Bowl, Micah Hyde gets added to the practice squad, I'm going to fucking cry. Okay. You know what I mean? If Trey White gets released and they sign him to the practice squad just so he can be there on the field with a pass, get a ring, and they would probably tell you, I don't even want that because it's their team, it's their thing. I don't want to step on their thing, but that's why we cared so much because they made that change in our team.
A lot of emotional ties.
We want to share that with them, but there's no question they were past their prime. And it wasn't just one guy that you were trying to make up for. It was multiple guys that you were trying to make up for. And I think that's where this youth movement has made such a difference in the level. We didn't know you never know what you're going to get when you put a new guy in there. But the talent gap that has filled in has been significant.
Yeah, man. I don't know, dog. It's true, man. These guys were past their prime. And you got a young iteration of this team, man. These boys are young, they're hungry. They can do it. And I keep saying that, but man, I'm just excited. I really am excited. Like I don't feel like there's not a team that they can beat.
If we're clearing the deck.
Yeah.
So you and I had personal conversations in the offseason about, this window reset that they were going to need to do. We've been talking about it for 2 years. I told you 2 years ago we were sitting in the bar and I was like, listen, people don't want to talk about it right now, but there is a salary cap reset coming.
Yep.
And I thought it was I thought it was going to be the offseason that it was. So now you go into this, and a lot of the conversation during the offseason was who do you pay and when do you pay him and so on and so forth. So this is the first year of a new window. No?
Yeah, it is.
So how long is this window, and how do you manage it? If we're really talking about this team, how long is this window, and how do you manage it? Because you made decisions.
4 years?
You made decisions to stick with guys like Poyer and Hyde and so on and so forth. Maybe a little bit longer than you should, but their contracts, remember, ran out.
Right.
Instead of letting them walk, you kept giving them 1 and 2 year deals.
I'll tell you. I'll give you the answer.
With the team.
It depends on how good this upcoming draft is, how well because you're going to have some big time decisions to make in terms of paying core players, right? And they're like I told you, there's got to be a casualty because you can't keep them all. So who's the casualty?
But what you can do is you can make the casualty 4 years from now.
Exactly.
And do what you did this last summer. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So
I say 4 years.
You can extend that window 4 or 5 years, but then you have to be real selective and careful about who you give those second contracts to, and make sure that there are people who over the next 4 years are going to keep you in that Super Bowl window.
Yeah. I think this upcoming offseason is going to be extremely pivotal. Like who they give their dollars to. I think it's And you got to hit on this. You got to hit on these draft picks, man. You got a first and 2 seconds. You've got to hit on these picks.
You know what I want to do with those.
Well, yeah, it ain't happening.
You know what I want to do.
You know Travis Hunter in Buffalo. I would love to see it, but
he saves you a roster spot and a salary. You're drafting 2 players with 1.
Yeah, no, dude. I'm all for it. I just man, they ain't gonna.
He would
that.
Be incredible in Sean McDermott's
zone
defense.
Rely on instincts.
God, he would eat. He
With
would eat.
Christian Benford next to him,
and then as your third receiver, like put him in and just let him be a deep threat. Get them
as your fourth receiver. Put him as your fourth receiver and just let him.
Whatever. Oh God, I would trade the entire draft. I would Ricky Williams him in a second.
Travis is different.
In a second.
He's different. He's different, man. I don't even want to talk about it because we're not going to see that here.
Trade the whole freaking draft for him. I don't care,
dog. Yeah, I know. Hope he wins the Heisman. Hope he wins the Heisman, dog. This has been fun, dude. This has been fun.
Has it?
Yeah, it's been fun.
You were really angry at different points. You told me I was negative. You yelled at me
that's par for the course. Like you're gonna get that regardless. If we were playing Parcheesi out back, like I was gonna tell you that to your face.
Wouldn't be the first time I took you out back. You know what I mean?
Yeah, right. Hey, why don't you drop the tailgate real quick before we get out of here?
Doing a little tailgate party. If you're in Denver, you want to come watch the Bills. Once a year, we pick a game. We start drinking early and outside. So we got a little tailgate party going on. It's to benefit a charity here in Denver called Safe House Denver. So we are going to start the party around 10 o'clock in the morning, and there's even going to be a pregame to the pregame if you happen to show up a little bit earlier. But we'll start the party around 10 o'clock in the morning. Food will be served at 11. We're going to be on the patio with some White Hots, some burgers, some wings, some buffalo chicken dip, so on and so forth. Buy a bracelet, get you access to the buffet, a couple drinks, wine draft, domestic draft.
And where's that going to be?
Hold on, I'm still going, dog.
You over here just...
It also gets you 5 entry tickets to the 50-50 raffle, and we're going to have hopefully a signed Bills jersey, but I'm still working on that you'll be entered to win as well. All that going down at Stoney's Uptown in Denver, 17th and Park. So come by and say what's up to us. We'll be drinking starting 10 a.m., and game starts here in Denver at 2:25. So
2:25.
Get a nice little lather on before it starts.
Okay, pause, my dude. You can't say that.
Yeah, I say it all the time.
A nice lather. A nice lather.
Oh, dog, that is a white dude way to say I'm getting a little tipsy.
Yeah, whatever you guys decide to do.
I'm just telling you, dog.
Right. Well, it's real. Like that.
It's real. I can find you a whole bunch of people who've said it. It's not just me.
That's okay. No, I'm good. I'm good on that. All right. Well, that's going to do it for this week on this show, Inside the Trenches, right here on the...
Hey, it's real important that I say one more thing. Go Bills.
Go Bills, baby. Go Bills. Hey, Super Bowl or bust, right?
Go Bills.
Go Bills. No, I need